mining. We're also going to hear a clip from Dr. Eob at the Ministry of Finance. He gives a great clarification in the local Amharic language. So hopefully members of the local media can take that clip and run with it because it's our clearest statement declarative about the industry. I'll give a short presentation, some high-level numbers as to what the industry helped generate for power authorities. I'll talk about why Ethiopia is attractive, what it means for the Bitcoin network. I'll keep it very short. And then we have some presentations. One from BitDeer, thank you for coming. And then a second from Dahab miners. And then we will close out the night. So thank you again for coming, and we'll get to our video.
On the outskirts of Addis Ababa, thousands of servers work on solving complex mathematical challenges that will be rewarded with bitcoins.
I will just
This mining is energy intensive. Here, they're using surplus electricity from Ethiopia's dams.
The Bitcoin mining has a great advantage, the capability to consume huge amount of energy to deploy fast and to do it very close to the source, like for example here near the substation. After many years, when the distribution grid deployed at the industry storm, probably the power will be redistributed.
Ethiopia's recently inaugurated Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD, will more than double the country's electricity output.
But Ethiopia doesn't yet have the distribution network to take this power to the half of the population that doesn't have electricity. The idea is that the fees paid by the Bitcoin miners to use the surplus energy, some $220 million worth in the last 12 months, will go towards funding the expansion of the grid.
The government had a target in 2030 for universal access to electricity, but now says meeting that will be extremely challenging.
Until the people have full access and the economies have to consume all this power, we are using Bitcoin for transition. It's not a permanent endeavor.
So they're not getting preference over domestic industry
No way.
The cost of mining one Bitcoin in Ethiopia is about $20,000, when hardware, staffing, and other costs added along with the cheap electricity. But that Bitcoin then sells for around $114,000 at current prices.
It's very profitable because 80% of the operating expenses for a Bitcoin miner is related to electricity. And in parts of the European Union, they're looking at 15 or 20 cents kilowatt hour. So to come to Ethiopia and get 3 cents or sub 4 cents, I think is extremely lucrative. We'll see.
For now, the price of Bitcoin is climbing and has become less volatile. As more countries, notably the US, become more receptive to digital assets like Bitcoin, then Ethiopia's appeal as a crypto mining hub is likely to grow. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera, Addis Ababa.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture.
All right. Thank you, Al Jazeera. Next, we have Shaggar FM.
ማይኒንግ ወይም የማሰስ እርሻ እንዲያደርጉ እየተፈቀደ ነው። በዓለም በግዙፍ ሀገሮች የፋይናንስ ስርዓት ውስጥ ዲጂታል ገንዘብ መገበያያ በማለቶች ማይኒንግ ወይም የማሰስ እርሻ እንዲያደርጉ እየተፈቀደ ነው።
Sorry about that.
ገንዘብ መገበያያ በማለት በጠቅላላው የሚታወቀው ቢትኮይን የክሪፕቶ ከረንሲ ማለት ዓለም ፊቱን ያዞረበትና በሁለት መስመር የሚጓትትበት ስርዓት ነው። ይህ መገበያያ ገንዘብ በእርግጥ በኪሳችን የማንሸከመው የብር ኖት ወይም ሳንቲም አይነት ነው። በምትኩ በኦንላይን የሚቀመጥ የዲጂታል ገንዘብ ይህ የቢትኮይን እና በጠቅላላው የክሪፕቶ ከረንሲዎች ልዩ ባህሪ ወይም ጠባይ በመንግስታትና በባንኮች እውቅና ለመታተማቸው ወይም አለመፈጠራቸው ነው። በመላው ዓለም በኔትወርክ በተሳሰሩ ኮምፒውተሮች ቁጥጥር የሚደረግበት ይህ ማዕዘን በተለይ በኢትዮጵያ ፍጹም የተከለከለ እንደሆነና ይህም ፖሊሲ እንደሌለ ይታወቃል። በምትኩ ግን በተለይ ከክሪፕቶ ከረንሲ ምዕራፍ የቢትኮይን ተቀባይነት እየጨመረ በመምጣቱ ዋጋውን እየናረ በመሄዱ ከፍተኛ ኃይል የሚፈልግ በመሆኑም በተለያዩ ሀገሮች ማይኒንግ ወይም የማሰስ እርሻ እንዲያደርጉ እየተፈቀደ ነው። ኢትዮጵያም ይህንኑ ቢትኮይን በከፍተኛ ኃይል ለማሰስ የገቡ ድርጅቶችን ተቀብላ ኃይል አቅርባ እነሱም ስራቸውን እያቀላጠፉ ነው። የሆነው ሆኖ ኢትዮጵያ በዚህ የዲጂታል ገንዘብ መተግበሪያ ስርዓት ያላት ፖሊሲ ወይም የወደፊት እቅድ ምንድን ነው? ዶክተር ኢዮብ ተካልኝ የገንዘብ ሚኒስትር ዴኤታና የብሔራዊ ባንክ የቦርድ አባል ናቸው። እሳቸውን ጠይቀናል።
ኢትዮጵያ የቢትኮይን ካረንሲ መጠቀም ፖሊሲ የላትም። በጣም በግልጽ በብሔራዊ ባንኩ በቴክኖሎጂ በጣም ተስሪሆን በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በቢትኮይን መገበያየት ህገወጥ ነው። ሌላ ጊዜ ፖሊሲ ፍርጎት ካለ ያለ የሚሆነው አሁን ያለን ግልጽ ፖሊሲ ግን ይሄ መጨራሽ መጨረሻ ማይኒንግ ዴታ ማይኒንግ የምንለው ግን ኢሴንሻሊ ለእኛ የመብራት ኤክስፖርት ማለት ነው። ያው የምታውቀው የክሪታ ሴንተር የሚገነባው አይነት ኮምፒውተሮች መስለው ዴታ ማይኒንግ ስራ የሚሰራበት ኢንቨስትመንት ነው።
ይህ ኢንቨስትመንት ከፍተኛ ኃይል የሚመጥ እንደሆነ ይታወቃል። በኢትዮጵያ የዚህ ከረንሲ የመጠቀም ፖሊሲ አልተፈቀደም፣ ህገወጥ ነው ተብሏል። ግን ይህ መስመር ከፍተኛ ኃይል በመውሰዱ ለሀገሪቱ መቅረብ ያለበትን የኃይል ጉልበት እንዳይሻማ ምን መሰል ነገር አለ? ምንስ ተሰራ?
ምንም መልኩ ሀገር ስብረት አካባቢ ቢሻማበት ቦታ ለመድረስ ነው ያለበት። ኦፍኮርስ መጀመሪያ አካባቢ ሲጀምር የነበሩ ችግሮች ነበሩ። አሁን ያ በደንብ አቅጣጫ ሰጥቶ ኢፒን ይህንን ያስተካከለ ነው። እንግዲህ ሎ ሲዝን ሲሆን ለምሳሌ ማታ ላይ መጠቀም ተረጃለ ያለ ውሃውን ከምታፈሰው ኤክስፖርት ታደርገው ኤክስፖርት እንደማድረግ አለቁ አልኮዶራል የሚከፍለው ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ሆነው ያንን ኤነርጂ ይጠቀማሉ ማለት ነው። የአጠቃላይ የመብራት አቅርቦትን ግን በሚሸማበት መልኩ በሌለ ተማዳይዝ ማለት አይወርድም። ሁለተኛ ተጨማሪ የኤነርጂ ጀነሬሽን ስራ ላይ መስራት እንደምንደርገው አለ ፊት አሁን ለምሳሌ 1000 ሜጋዋት እና ያንን ያምራተው በዚህ ተጠቅሜ አዲስ ካፓሲቲ ፈጥራ ተጨማሪ ደግሞ መምጣት ማለት ነው። ዊን እነዚህ ነገሮችን ከስር ያዩ የማስተካከል ጉዳይ ይመጣል። ግን አጀማመሩ ላይ የነበሩ ችግሮች ነበሩ። ዝም ብሎ ኢንዱስትሪ መንደር ውስጥ መግባት ያለው አሁን ሪላክሴሽን እንዲሆን ተደርጓል። ዝም ብሎ በዴታ ሴንተር ስራ ትክክልም ቢትኮይን ማይኒንግ በሚል ፈቃድ እንዲገቡ እና ደግሞ በተቻለ መጠን ከግሪድ ዲስትሪቢሽን አፌክት ባያለበት ቦታ እንዲሰማሩ የማስተካከል ስራ እየተሰራ ነው። በዚህ ለተሰራ ግን ተጨማሪ ኤክስፖርት ነው ያነፈላ እና በከዚህ አንፃር ነው ማለት
በክሪፕቶ ከረንሲ ወይም ቢትኮይን ሀገራት የተለያየ መረጃ ያላቸው። በቅርቡ ከዓለም ጋር የተዋወቀው ቢትኮይን ህጋዊ ነው ወይስ አይደለም በሚሉ ጥያቄዎችን መንግስታት ሀሳባቸው ለመግለጽ ከፍለዋል። ህጋዊ ነው ወይስ አይደለም ለሚለው ጥያቄ ምላሽ ማግኘትም አስቸጋሪ ነው። በተለያዩ ዓለም አቀፍ የፋይናንስ ተቆጣጣሪ ኩባንያዎችን በተደረገው ጥናት ቢትኮይንን በመጠቀም የገዢው ማንነት ወይም ሻጩ ይፋ ሳይደረግ በየትኛውም ሰዓትና በየትኛውም ስፍራ የቢትኮይን ዝውውር ማድረግ ይችላል። የግዢው ማንነት ይፋ ሳይደረግ ግብይት መፈጸም ይቻላል። ይህ ደግሞ ለሀገሮች በጣም አደገኛና ህገወጥ ቡድኖች የጦር መሳሪያዎችና አነቃቂ እጾችን ሊገዙና ሊሸጡ ይችላሉ። ህገወጥ የገንዘብ ዝውውርና አሸባሪዎችን ለመርገፍ ያስችላል በማለት ቢትኮይንን ጨምሮ ሌሎች ክሪፕቶ ከረንሲዎች ላይ ሀገራት ያላቸው ስጋት ከፍተኛ እንደሆነ ይታወቃል። በሌላ በኩል ከክሪፕቶ ከረንሲ ማዕዘን በተለይ ቢትኮይን 10 ዓመታት ቢያስቆጥርም አሁንም በዓለም ያሉ ግዙፍ ሀገሮች ክሪፕቶ ከረንሲዎችን በተመለከተ ግልጽ ያለ ህግ የላቸውም።
Okay, so thank you, Shaggar FM. And to clarify in English, what he was saying is that Bitcoin mining is in fact legal, and it complements many of our industries should we use stranded energy and not base load. So with that, I want to share 2 websites. The first is bitfeed.live. I share this almost every presentation I give, but a lot of people have a hard time visualizing the blockchain. What is Bitcoin? What's a decentralized currency? It's a protocol. So it's very hard to describe. Seeing it, it's a little bit better. So here is the blockchain. It's live. So we see the latest block here forming. It's called the mempool. So each one of these blocks corresponds to a transaction between an input and output. The size of the block corresponds with the size of the transaction. So here we'll see a $1.3 million transaction moving from one input to two outputs, and the fee is 1,100 sats, which is $2 or something like this. So we see here it's a very open market, it's a free market, and because these fees really follow a dynamic market, I think this is infinitely better than the existing financial system. So we've seen in the last 15 years now, since our Genesis block, there have been 914,000 blocks. So there's a new block every 10 minutes. In each block, there's roughly 2,000 transactions. And so there's 15 years of financial history here. And so this is the blockchain. It's a series of transactions through time, and it's proving to be really robust and very economical for many countries. This you can't see very well, but it's called the Clark Mooney Bitcoin dashboard, and it helps you define a lot of the functions that Bitcoin relies off of. So things like hash rate and the halving period and the rewards and so on. This is a very good dashboard to reference, and if you dive into the question marks, it'll give you the definitions for each. So these are the two websites that, I think if you're really following this industry and you really want to make this profit driven, then you're really going to want to follow these two dashboards. With that, I'll move into my very, very short presentation called The State of Bitcoin Mining. Now, this was a report that we put together in March of this year. Since then, many things need to be updated. For example, back in March, Ethiopian Electric Power had generated $55 million of revenue in 12 months. Now, by August, they've reported $220 million in revenue, again, in 12 months. So there's a lot that we're going to update in October when we release the report. But at least for members of the media, some of the numbers in this presentation I think will be helpful. The first is that 30% of Ethiopia's power production is being used for Bitcoin mining. This is in line with stranded energy estimates. So it's not like we're taking energy from the residential community. We're not taking energy from the commercial community or industrial parks. What we're doing is going into areas where there's energy not being used. So perhaps geographically, in different areas where there just hasn't been development yet, or maybe it's on a basis of time, right? So within a 24-hour window, you could have off-peak hours, which would give us, as Bitcoin miners, the ability to purchase energy. Now, when this energy is being purchased, it's being purchased at a 3 or 4x premium. So you can very clearly say that Bitcoin miners are helping subsidize just about everybody else in Ethiopia. The other number I want to stress is 5% of the entire Bitcoin network is now being secured in Ethiopia. I think the number is closer to 10%, but we'll see where it lands. I think this is extremely significant because this train is moving without us. And I think as it does, we need to really step up and join the industry. And I think that's what Ethiopian Electric Power has done. That's what Ethiopian Investment Commission has done. Obviously, INSA has been giving approvals and licenses for the miners to import what's now probably about 1 million active miners in Ethiopia. So it's a significant number. We're growing, and these type of things really secure against what they call techno-colonialism, right? So the fear that Africa won't be involved in its future. Ethiopia earned $220 million from Bitcoin miners in 12 months. This is also a very significant statistic. This was earned in dollars. This is more than 30% of Ethiopian Electric Power's income. And what's significant is this is growing. So they're importing more miners every day. And as of last month, Director of Communication for Ethiopian Electric Power, Mogas Mokondan, he had stated that Ethiopian Electric Power is earning $25 to $28 million per month. So that's significant. And so the Nile River, which we've appreciated with the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, is now contributing another 5 gigawatts, bringing the country's total capacity to about 7 or 8 gigawatts. But the initial feasibility study had clarified that we could build 8 more Grand Ethiopian Renaissance dams without much effect. So that brings us to 45,000 megawatts or gigawatts. That's 45 gigawatts. And this is significant because you remember, if some of you are old enough to, back in 2008, when this conversation was getting started, the country's production capacity was just 160 megawatts. And at that time, when Mala Zenawi brought the proposal for Bilge 1, I believe the World Bank and IMF said, what are you going to do with all that energy? And imagine, we're now at 7,000, right? If not 8,000. So these numbers are growing. I think they're going to grow exponentially because we're getting better at procuring, Selene and Alstom and General Electric, CC, right? These are now companies that are very familial with Ethiopia. They've been here for 20, 30 years now. Selene, 50 years now. So they have great experiences building hydroelectric energy. And so now I think it's going to be on the onus of the local government to add to the energy mix, right? So geothermal projects, solar projects, etc. And that's my presentation. You can find more information at bitcoinbird.org, and you can join our Telegram group at t.me/bitcoinbird. And with that, I'll invite Adi to the stage. So ModernETH from BitDeer is going to give us a presentation entitled Empowering the Next Era of Bitcoin Mining in Ethiopia. And she has a strong relationship to the industry, and so she'll give us a good understanding as to the policy and digital Ethiopia and so on. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm ModernETH. I represent BitDeer Group. Today, at this moment, energy, technology, and economic developments are converging. So with that being said, Ethiopia being in terms of Africa being the center of mining, because most of the mining companies, if you look into the map, most of them, they exist in Ethiopia. And I'm happy to talk about that and what our company is doing in terms of penetrating the African market. So let's begin. Who's BitDeer? So we have quite a short history, not long, but then we have come very relentless innovation. We were born in 2021. Originally, there was a company called Bitmain. That was one of the pioneer mining companies in the world. And from our inception, we have focused on mainly, to be global, to be vertically integrated, and mainly technologically, superior in mining business. As you can see, in 2023, we acquired a mining farm that was green and sustainable in Bhutan. That was our first project. And then we expanded to the US. We actually acquired quite a lot of mining farms. And then from the mining, we went to producing machines, which we call ASIC machines. And our first machine actually was in 2024. We call it SEAL01. And actually, this evening, we just released our new machine, which I will talk about later. And then we expanded to Ohio in Canada, which I'll talk further. So in total, we have globally, we operate mostly, we have a diversified mining farms, and we exist in 3 continents, starting from the US, and then we go to Canada, and then we have in Norway, and then Bhutan, and the last one, which we are currently we are building, is in Ethiopia, in Oromia region, about 50 megawatt, and then we have 1.6 gigawatt that's coming online, which in total comes to 2.7 gigawatt, which makes us the highest mining mining company in the world. So what makes us competitive compared to our competitors? So we have 4 pillars, and one being we're different technology companies. We're not just mining companies. We design, we build data centers, we host, at the same time we mine. Mostly we do self-mining a lot. Besides that, we produce ASIC technology. That's one of the latest technologies. The other one, we have a scale of significant number. As I said, we have 1.6 gigawatt that's running, and then we are expecting another 1.6, which will become about 2.7 gigawatt. And then we have a very high disruptive ASIC technology platform with our seal miners rigs around the world. And then the other thing is we have positioned ourselves to be capitalized on explosive demand of AI and high performance computing machines, which actually currently we're not just only talking about Bitcoin, where the world is shifting to AI and quantum computing. So to see our numbers, in the last June 2025, we actually made 53% of our income or our revenue came from self-mining, which is about 60.5 extra hash per second, and 37% of our revenue came from hosting, and 6% of our income generated about 4 million USD is from just selling seal miners. But then the other more important thing is AI and HPC business. It's powered by NVIDIA's cutting edge technology, and then we have doing a very good job with expanding our AI wing. So as you place us along other competitors, these are publicly traded companies. We're not talking about individual companies. We're talking about publicly traded companies. And from publicly traded companies, as you can see, we position ourselves to be even, to be in the center of the mining business. So this is not just this is just more of a, how do I put this? We have an operational excellence and an access to capital. We have a very high capital access, which makes us to be in this position. And then we're pushing forward even more to be in the, the first place. So let's talk about our machines, because most of you are interested in our machines, I would say. So our machines, we call them seal miners. So, as the industry has seen incremental gains with ASIC machine, and most of those ASIC machines, they are expected to be performing very well, and they have to be efficient. And our machines, they have known to be efficient, and we have, our machines, they have been selling very aggressively. At the same time, our machines, we have a singular goal, which is making them perform well and then being efficient. So as you can see, we have released our first generation chips. We call them A1 chips, and then we moved to A2 chips. Currently, we are actually, this night, we released our A3 chips with, as you can see the numbers, the seal miners, it's like 12.5 joule per terahash, which is a very, very good number for mining. And we're expected to deliver our last wave A4, currently A4 machines by the 2026 on the third quarter. And we're expecting these machines to push the boundaries and what is possible of dramatic lowering energy per terahash. So with these ASIC machines, what does they take? The market for this technology has increased massively. The global, hash rate has constantly expanding, and older machines, less efficient machines, they are continually being phased out. So this creates a very perpetual upgrade for cycle. I mean, from time to time, everybody is buying new machines, which the old machines are out of market. So based on our internal analysis, assuming a very conservative market scenario, the total addressable market for ASIC revenue between 2025 and 2027, it's expected to be 27 billion USD. I mean, all ASIC machines, just focusing mining, just alone mining, not even considering AI. So, and we talked about bitcoins, but then beyond Bitcoin, what do we have? As I mentioned, the generation is opportunity for AI. Like, we are shifting to AI. I mean, every discussion is about AI, yeah. But then, what about it? So the demand for computational power is increasing, and I don't think even the current market will be able to satisfy that. There is a high demand. And we expect some of the mining farms that exists already for data mining, they have a very big chance, or they have a very big possibilities of them turning to AI and AI data mining centers, and instead of just Bitcoin mining centers. But then is the Ethiopia market ready for that? That's in question. But currently, the US has been the very big center of AI, and most of the data centers, they have been pushing turning their sites to AI sites, which is a very opportunity for the market who are still interested in those machines. So looking ahead, what are our priorities? I mean, our priorities are very crystal clear. First, we'll continue to increase our self-mining hash rates. I mean, our track to deliver 40 exahash per second. That's by the last quarter of 2025. And secondly, we accelerate our ASIC production, which actually really as scheduled as the companies. And thirdly, we are aggressively working on our HPC and AI capabilities, as I have mentioned earlier, converting suitable sites, I mean, existing data centers, and then expanding our GPU and cloud services, and they become a key infrastructure for AI and for an AI economy. So why is the world is shifting to Bitcoin? I mean, in the US currently, all you hear is about Bitcoin as a reserve or not. All the European countries interested to discuss about, which Africa I do feel like but then why is the world shifting? So before, when we talk about Bitcoins, it's all a taboo, or people think it's a fraud. Yeah, and some people still think it's a fraud. But then Bitcoin is no longer a niche asset. It has proven itself to be a best performing major asset of the last decade. I mean, Bitcoin is outpacing S&P 500 real estate, golds. You can see the trend. I mean, you can see as the asset, you can see it from the screen. And some governments, even major financial institutions like BlackRock, they have recognized the significance, and there are over 60 publicly listed companies in the crypto space. We're talking publicly listed, and imagine all those companies that are not publicly listed but then still investing in Bitcoin. And already from the 21 million Bitcoin, I think there is only remaining 1 point something million. So how much is left for us to mine? This is a question I want you to think about. So moving forward, as the industry has matured, the mining industry, the prioritize has shifted. First, it was about government allowing us to invest or not. It was about chips. But now we have witnessed the Great Migration. The industry has decentralized from concentration to seeking regulatory environment, critically abundant and clean energy. So they were, a year, let's say 10 years ago, I would say, most of the mining, about 80%, they were made on coal. It was never hydro or solar. Now that's shifting from coal to hydro. Most of the actually mining currently are done on hydro, which is, we have to talk about sustainability, because if we want to sustain the business, we need to be working within the environment, within the communities. So seeing that ECG is no longer a buzzword within our sector, it has become the most, for the most successful miners, prioritize more of sustainability. So where most of the, you could see it, you can even Google it, most of the miners, they do mining on hydro instead of coal or gas. Of course, there are mining that's happening on gas, happening on solar, but then the more sustainable business, the most sustainable and the most successful companies are working on hydro. So why Ethiopia? Which brings me to the heart of my presentation for today. Ethiopia represents a lot of things. I'll have mentioned most of them, but then, right now Ethiopia has a, rare and powerful convergence opportunities. One being having an abundant and renewable energy, with over 90% of the electricity generated in the country, they are all green energy, which makes Ethiopia actually one of the leading green energy country in the world. And then this provides sustainability and low-cost power source, for our sector, which is one of the most important input for our business. And the other one is competitive tariff energy. This rate offered for globally, it's a very competitive rate we have in Ethiopia, which creating a sustainable operational advantage for miners. And the third and perhaps most important supportive signal from the government we have. There is a clear regulatory distinction between crypto trading and mining, and there is a welcoming stance toward this foreign investment by the government, which is a very big opportunities for to do as an investor, having to invest multi-million dollars for a long term. So this is a very untapped potential for data infrastructure, and here there is an immense opportunity in Ethiopia. So, this is not one-way street. Now we talked about what, as a miner, we can gain, and then what does the country would gain from us as miners. So one is a significant foreign direct investment. So, within the past 3 years, just within our sector, there was, I'm not 100% sure with the number, but there is more than 25 companies that are investing in Ethiopia, which is a very big number as an investment. The other thing is there is a new source of foreign exchange. As I said, within 1 year, if we manage to, if the country managed to, make a revenue of 220 million USD, imagine if we regulate this properly, and if we able to develop more, substations, if we have more Grand Renaissance dam like that, then there is more chance for the country to, generate more foreign exchanges. And then the other one is we can accelerate infrastructure development, because we demand 24/7. We demand electricity 24/7. That means there is more demand for electricity, which is the more demand from the user, then we need to develop more infrastructures. So, and these infrastructures, they are expected to be fast tracking, and then they have to be modern, which is another benefit. And the other one is human capital development. Of course, our sector doesn't employ a lot of people, but then the number of staffs, it's not always about quantity, there has to be quality. So the type of human resources we require needs like recent technologies, which we lack from our experience in Ethiopia. We don't have that resource, which we need to build within our society, which we need to bring our youth to be in the same stage as other users in other countries. So let me be very clear about our relationship with energy sector is very symbiotic. I mean, we're not just consumer of energy, but then we're strategic partner. I mean, if we see it positively. First thing is we monetize surplus energy. I mean, yes, Ethiopia produces about 7,000 megawatts currently, but then can we transmit all that power to the society? We can't. There is always a stranded energy within our current circumstances. Most of the stranded energy, we are using those ones. I mean, of course, the community assume that we are actually the power fluctuation or blackouts are happening because of miners, which is not true actually. Most of the blackouts or fluctuation of power happens because of the transmission lines, not because we use those powers. I mean, if Ethiopia, let's say, currently only 40-something% of the population is able to access electricity. Imagine if 100% of the population utilizes electricity. We still have excess energy. And then we don't have much of commercial business or manufacturing that's happening in the country currently. So these things have to be considered before we conclude that miners are the one who consume the energy, which I think we need to have the facts right before we conclude that miners are the one who are the problem creators. The other thing is we're anchor tenants for power products. I mean, if there is a demand with a country that's open for foreign investors, there are investors who might be interested in building power grids, which is a market. So if there is a demand, there has to be a supply, which I don't think they go together. So in the future, operation can be stabilized by grid stabilization, because you produce power, you can't store power. You will emit if we don't use it. So we are actually, for grid stabilization, we have a big role. I mean, if there is high load, then we require a high load, which is, we can't interrupt our operation. It has to be live 24/7. But then when there is a need, which, countries, they have a peak times. For example, if you take in Addis between 6 o'clock and 10 p.m., that's a peak hour, which, with agreement with the government, we can, with the demand, we can lower it. And then when there is no demand, then we can utilize that. So by saying that, the next era for Bitcoin mining will be defined by sustainability, technological efficiency, and strategic partnership. It's not about only capital. We do have the capital, we have the let's say the power, but then if we can't work efficiently and strategically with the government, we still fail. So these things, the three of them, sustainability, technology efficiency, and strategic partnerships are a must. And thank you for your attention and time. Looking forward for our next question.
Thank you, Abby. I think that was very helpful presentation. It really goes down into some of the details that face Bitcoin miners, some of the misinformation around energy use, and of course, all of the great work that BitDeer is doing, not just in Ethiopia, but around the world. Those numbers are very impressive. Next, I want to invite Rushil from Dahab Miners. Rushil is the COO. He arrived just last night, so please welcome him. And he's going to give us our next.
Thank you, Carl, for the introduction. And thank you for arranging this beautiful event. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I've not got the opportunity to meet everyone, but yeah, I look forward to meeting you. So, Dahab mining. So, we're not as big as Bit here, so we need a little more explanation. So, our origin story. So, back in 2021, 2 young graduates from college went to the UAE and started mining, right? Now, this was the beginning of time in UAE. Like, we were the first company to start mining in the UAE. Back then, we realized there's a big gap in this market. The education is not on point, and the procurement, repair, it was an absolute mess. So we came in with the simple idea to help the people procure the miners, to help them with hosting, and help them with repair. So our DNA is retail. We always focus on retail. Our core, because we believe that Bitcoin is for everyone. It should not be centralized. It's meant to be decentralized. So we always focused on the retail side of the business. We wanted to educate people, we wanted them to know about mining, and wanted the common people to start mining. So this was our origin, right? Now, how many of you have or experience or currently working in B2C sector, like business to customer? Okay, so you know the headache, right? So B2C is where the headache is. So scaling was very hard for us because more the number of client names, endless support calls, delayed payments, heavy admin load. So, there's a saying, right? The first time business entrepreneur always goes to B2C. Then he moves to B2B. Why? Because scaling is very hard in B2C. You cannot scale because there is too much operational load that is nearly impossible to scale fast. So, which came with our pivot. From retail, we went to B2B. That meant fewer accounts, more hash rate, and less friction. With this, we were able to scale massively and rapidly with great aggression in the UAE. By the end of 2024, we had over 10 megawatt in just UAE. But then came the regulation problems. But ever since we scaled, we always felt back, because this is not why we started mining. We started mining for the common people because the ethos of Bitcoin is far greater than anything else. And the ethos states that Bitcoin is not meant to be centralized. It's meant to be decentralized and accessible to everyone. So, we never forget where we came from. Even though we were focusing on B2B and we scaled pretty hard, we still wanted to show our commitment to the retail side. And that's when we decided to move to Ethiopia. Because of the regulations issues in the UAE, we wanted to start mining in places which was more regulated. Hence, first we started in Ethiopia. Back in 2024, we procured our first few megawatts in Ethiopia and started our mining. So, our global expansion to Ethiopia. The same question, why Ethiopia? I know Carl and from BTR have really discussed this point, so I'm not going to go into the detail, but as Carl said, 220 million was earned by Ethiopia in just 1 year. Now that's a massive amount. Considering that Ethiopia just started mining 2 years ago, there's huge potential left in this market. And just in these 2 years, over 5%, just as Carl said, in reality it's almost next to 10. Next to 10% of the global hash rate just in 2 years is now being mined just in Ethiopia. Just understand the potential. As Carl said, once we open the full potential of the 45,000 megawatts that's available in the Nile River, the potential that's here in Ethiopia is just massive. And the best thing about it, unlike UAE, where the power from the grid mostly comes from nuclear and oil, the power here is clean, it's green. And of course, whenever we speak about the ethos about Bitcoin, we also have to think about the ethos we ourselves have to the nature, to our mother Lord, right? Everything is supposed to be green. And this is why Ethiopia makes a perfect sense. Now, to show that we are still committed to our retail side, when, especially in the recent times, you can always see BlackRock, the US government, even the UAE government has about 40 gigawatt in operation. Just like BitDeer has with Nepal, it's about 60 gigawatt, right? Yes, 60 gigawatt. So it's always the institutional players are coming into mining. So what about the retail people? BlackRock, every big players are coming into the mining sector. But we should always remember the ethos of Bitcoin. Bitcoin should not be centralized. So to show our commitment to the retail side, I introduced the Dahab mining app. Introducing the Dahab mining app, our mining app has the equalizer mode. So to those who are not familiar with the equalizer model, the equalizer model is basically pool-based mining. So if you have an experience with retail clients who do mining, the problem with mining in the retail side is when a customer has 3 machines, he's more obsessed about these machines, obsessed about the downtime. If one of the machines is going to repair or any downtime, this customer is going to be frustrated because for him, 1 out of the 3 is a big number. So how does the equalizer mode work? Equalizer mode, or you can say pool-based mining, is where we put all our hash rate into one account. And then this reward from the pool is divided based on how much the customer acquires. This way, we can actually guarantee no repair cost to our retail clients. Now, this is what all our retail clients want to hear because we are taking away all the risk. The miners are already connected. Whenever you buy a machine from our application, it starts mining right away. There is no repair cost. And the best thing is, it's transparent, simple, and secure, all powered by Ethiopia's green energy. So this is something that we have been currently working on for a long time now, because we want to show our commitment to the retail side. The retail is the core of Bitcoin. And in our application, we offer two payout modes. The first mode is the hold mode. The hold mode is where a customer can get 100% of the Bitcoin mined. The hosting fee should be prepaid in fiat or crypto. This allows the user to accumulate more Bitcoin over time. Now, I will tell you why it's recommended after I explain the profit mode. The profit mode is a mode where the daily BTC payouts is automatically cut from the hosting fee. That means you don't have to pay this hosting fee. It's automatically deducted from the payout that you get. Now, this can be seen like an ATM. You buy a machine and you get profits every day. But why do we recommend hold mode to our retailers? Because if you look into the graphs of Bitcoin, every 4 years, Bitcoin just goes boom, right? Every time. And with the next halving approaching in 3 years, we want the common people of all the world to have as much hash rate as possible, to make as much as Bitcoin as possible. Let me tell you a story. Back when I was a kid in my country, I'm from India, for 5 rupees, I used to get 5 chewing gums. And the 5 chewing gums were this long. But today, last month, when I just went for vacation, I bought the same chewing gum. The price was still 5 rupees, but there was only 2 chewing gums inside. And the size of the chewing gum was only this much. For me, it hurt a lot. Because as a kid, my memories for that chewing gum was big. And seeing that, I understood that the world, that fiat always depreciates. The fiat currency is always depreciating. But what about Bitcoin? Every 4 years, we see Bitcoin just going off the top, to the moon, right? So we want the customers to buy a machine and then pay the hosting fee in fiat, because fiat is always depreciating. And then accumulate as much as Bitcoin as possible. And hopefully, after 3 years, when Bitcoin again goes to the moon, our retail customers can also make a lot of money. So this is why hold mode is always recommended. As you can see, because fiat depreciates while Bitcoin appreciates. Hold mode maximizes long-term upside. Bitcoin mining is never about the short-term gain. If you are like buying a machine and taking the profits every month, selling the Bitcoin you mine, you're in the wrong business. And what is actual Bitcoin mining? The whole perspective of Bitcoin mining is to accumulate as much as Bitcoin as possible for a fixed entry price. Because if you buy a machine and you have a fixed hosting contract, that means you always produce Bitcoin at the fixed rate. You don't have to pay any premium, you don't have to pay any low. Even if Bitcoin is high or low, you still pay the fixed fee. So what is this concept of mining? The concept of mining is very simple. It's just to accumulate as much as Bitcoin. If I have a customer and he tells me, should I buy a machine or should I buy Bitcoin every day? I tell him, buy Bitcoin every day. That's much better. But that's never possible. The psychological aspect is always more difficult than mining. This is why I always tell people, go for mining. Because it's not about how much profit you make. It's not about the ROI. It's not about, what the difficulty goes up. It's not about the repair cost. The only thing that matters is how much Bitcoin you accumulate. Because after 3 years, when Bitcoin again goes to the moon, you'll be happy that you started mining. So, to go detail, I introduce our first digital miner. So Dahab Noon, our company based in UAE is an Arabic company. So the name Noon means light in Arabic. A symbol of purity, guidance, and beginning. Dahab Noon evokes the image of golden glow that leads the way. Perfect for newcomers stepping into the world of mining. Our goal is to educate people about mining, especially from people from Ethiopia, India, and all the countries. We want to uprise the people, bring them into mining, and educate about the world. So, this is why our machine, even though it's only 80 terahash and the efficiency is at 2.91 and the hosting fee is at 0.055, the machine only costs 2,000 dirhams, which is roughly $550. This is our whole concept. We want mining to be easily accessible to everyone. If a person has let's say $3,000, $4,000 salary, every month he's going to spend it. But instead, if he once buys a miner and every month he puts at least $100 for hosting fee, he'll be very happy because he'll make at least 180% of his investment by the end of 3 years. So that's the offer we have for our miners. Our miners are digitally valid for 3 years. Our digital miners, again, it's a digital miner, are backed by real hash rate. We have over 5 megawatt in Ethiopia and over 10 megawatt in UAE operational, all being backed for our digital miners. And, while starting this application, we started our idea like 6-8 months ago. We had a lot of complications to solve. But thanks to our exclusive partners, everything was much easier. I want to introduce our pool to you guys. The co-founder Sunil, who sends his regards to you. Most of you guys must know Sunil. Sunil he's doing crazy work with pools. So I'm very excited to announce our exclusive partnership with ourpool.io. Ourpool.io is backed by NiceHash and also Hive. And I can let you know that our pool is currently the biggest, or currently the pool which gives the most payout. Yes, I think last month they announced their stats per terahash and it was like 0.6 times 0.47. For comparison, F2 pool, that's only 0.6 times 0.44. That means our pool defeated F2 pool, Foundry pool, you name it, our pool defeated them. And I also want to announce our exclusive partnership with DeuceXPay. They are our crypto payments partnership. Like amazing people, amazing technology, We allow our customers to make the hosting payment and miner purchase in USDT, USDC, Ethereum, Bitcoin. And thanks to our fiat payments, you can also buy and pay the hosting fee in fiat. Our tech backend is sponsored or partnered by MeasureX. For those who are not familiar, MeasureX is a data-driven company who works with most of the companies in Ethiopia. They have advanced technology where they let you know the real consumption based on pool data. A sneak peek. This is going to be our second machine, Dahab Barq. Barq means lightning in Arabic. So lightning of gold. Your return is faster than you think. Now Barq is rumored to be 160 terahash on only 4,000 dirhams. That means roughly $1,100. So for $1,100, a person will be able to secure 160 terahash. Again, the efficiency might not be up to the standards of BitDare or other major competitive players because our idea is very simple. Pay the hosting fee in fiat and accumulate as much as Bitcoin as possible. After 3 years, when Bitcoin halves again and goes to the moon, you'll be happy that you started mining. Why? I just want to compliment my say, focusing in Ethiopia has been one of the biggest things that has happened to us. It's been so peaceful for us, and especially coming from UAE, which is completely unregulated. Coming to Ethiopia, it's been a pleasure for us because we feel like we are doing more than mining. We are contributing to something that's far more empowering. The potential that Ethiopia has is massive. Even the people here, we've been training people for mining, and it only took 1 or 2 weeks. The people here are so smart, I swear. They know the knowledge, they already have the basics of engineering. And for me to teach them about mining, it only took 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, he was actually suggesting me ideas. That's actually immensely crazy. And being here, contributing to this, has been more than a pleasure for us. And it's our pleasure to be actually grow with Ethiopia because the potential that Ethiopia has, oh my God, it's massive. We see Ethiopia going a long, long way. And it's our absolute pleasure, It's our absolute pleasure to be part of this journey. We're not something of big kind, but of the $220 million that Ethiopia generated, we're very happy that we have a small contribution to it. Because Ethiopia, I see, is going a long, long way. And that's pretty much everything. I just want to conclude. We are open for strategic partnership. We are open for joint ventures. We are looking for more hash rate purchase because we are always in the need of purchasing ready hash rates to sell in our application, of course. We're also interested in mining infrastructure investment. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rochelle. Let's give him one more round of applause because I think he was really good. And I think he had a really, his entire presentation was fantastic. But that point about hold mode versus profit mode, I think it's very clear that Ethiopian Electric Power is in profit mode. They're taking these earnings in dollars, right? They have a lot of debts and contributions and obligations, etc. But I think it's a very important point to make that, if at all possible, get into that hold mode because the U.S. government, through their Treasury and their Reserve and Congress and so on, are printing more money. So the more that they print, the less that it's worth. So buy hard assets, buy land, buy gold, invest in experiences and your family, but also hold on to a little bit of Bitcoin because I think it's increasingly important. So thank you so much for sharing.